Every single Canadian has seen in the last few weeks and months a protest of, well, whatever side they're on, but they're blocking traffic. They are obstructing the public. What do we do about it? Before we get into that, please subscribe, ask your friends to subscribe, and spread the news. It's a pretty good show, especially when we have Gary Clewley on, who is a noted criminal defense lawyer in Toronto and New York City. And I want to put the question to you. Some academics are saying, well, if there's a protest, you've got to go to court, get an injunction, and whether the police then can stop. Others are saying, police, do your job and get out there in the street and let people in traffic go by. If their protesters object, put them in jail. What do you say?
Well, I agree. Let's let the police do their job.
Why are police not doing their job?
Because they feel hamstrung by the politicians, by the media, and even by the courts. This is not so much. This is not something that academics or law school students need to figure out. Police officers understand the difference between lawful and unlawful activity. They exercise it every day of the week.
Yes.
The courts, the law is pretty clear, isn't it? I mean, it's hate speech, interference with other people's use of their property, enjoyment, blocking intersections, especially when you target particular neighborhoods because of the people who live in them. How difficult is that to understand that when people stand up and celebrate, terrorist organizations and call for the death of Jews or the destruction of Israel, how hard is it to figure out that there's something wrong with that protest?
Well, then why are the police not more empowered to do things? I mean, we have pictures in Toronto of police handing out coffees to these protesters while they are blocking traffic, and they're intimidating people from going into their own homes because of their religion.
Well, I think on that particular instance, they were actually trying to facilitate the peacefulness of the gathering. So they acted as the go-between. That's all they were doing. I don't think they were supporting one side or the other. But on that issue, I think the problem is that the police feel that until the courts speak, they have to be bend over backwards to make sure they don't appear to be favoring one side or another. So I say the answer to that is you arrest everybody who engages in hate speech, no matter which side of the team they're on. This business that the coppers are neutral actors is nonsense. They were wearing a jersey that says peace, order, and good government on it. That's the team they're on, and that's the team they should root for.
Well, I mean, so your contention is that in certain cases, the police on the front line and the police who are in charge, who are giving instructions, we've seen that in many places where there are cases of blocking traffic, blocking highways, and the police do nothing about it. They say, well, we don't want to have any conflict. Isn't that just nonsense?
It is nonsense. They're in the business of resolving conflict and dealing with it.
So is it the court's fault? Should courts smarten up?
Yeah, and the politicians. They got to sit out there and say, do your job. That's what we hired you for. As for business of freedom of expression, the criminal code has already made these decisions. That's when the public spoke.
Boy, that's refreshing. Gary Clewley, thank you very much. Police, do the job.
Do your job.
3 minutes. This show provides independent analysis of the issues. We are not paid by the government. And as I am finding, so much business in Canada relies upon various governments that they don't want to sponsor or advertise on a show which may become controversial, which talks about liberty, freedoms, sometimes criticizes government. I've had guests on that support the government. But people are saying, you know what? We don't want to bite the hand that feeds us, i.e. government, which is why I hope you'll subscribe and contribute to keep this show on the air.